Welcome back to This is Van Color. In a world where more and more people are creating content for the internet, I mean, it's how I got my start, there is a dark side to internet fame. Here to discuss the dangers of internet fame, we're joined by the Vancouver-based director of the film Anything for Fame, a co-production between A North of Now Films and the National Film Board of Canada, which you can stream on Paramount+. He is Tyler Funk, and this conversation is supported by Shelter Point Single Malt Whiskey, distinctly Vancouver Island, uniquely Shelter Point. So Tyler, you got to explain the difference between internet fame and fame, because where I'm confused is if you're famous, then you're probably famous on the internet. And if you're internet famous, by virtue of everyone being on the internet, you're probably just regular famous too. So what is the difference between internet fame and fame?
You know, that's a great question. I think of fame in general as a currency. When you have it, you can use it in different ways.
Right.
With internet fame, it can come very quickly. It doesn't have the gatekeepers of traditional fame. You don't need kind of the studio behind you, the music industry behind you. You can create a whole new genre of content we've never seen before, and you can be the person for that. You could be the new NPC modeler online or whatever the next trend is.
I don't know what that is.
It's where you non-playable character, where you pretend to basically be a background character in a video game. That's the current trend right now.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Wow. I feel like the thing with internet fame is there seems to be this propensity towards doing things that are extreme, whether it's extreme takes on the political culture, whether it's things like pornography, whether it's just gratuitous kind of conversations that, again, you wouldn't necessarily see in legacy media. I feel like internet content just has that trend of leaning into the extreme. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, I think so. You kind of remove all of those gatekeepers, and it's both a good thing and a bad thing. Right. So you think about traditional broadcast, we have the CRTC. Mm-hmm. You think about this show, right? You can't jump off a bridge during this show because we're in a studio. But when the studio's in your pocket, that all changes.
Yeah.
Anything is there, and especially what we've seen a lot through our research and in the film is how when you're getting going, platforms really allow anything. Now, platforms hit different stages. So Vine, for example, when it started, was a porn sharing app. And then it was
it was?
Yeah, that's
I
how
had
it
no
blew
idea.
up. That was editor choices and stuff. And then it was do it for the Vine until a kid got hit trying to jump over a car, broke his leg. Whoa. And then they stepped in and changed it. And so we see that again and again with platforms. So YouTube's matured more so now and you see less of it. But at the beginning, you saw a lot of that behavior.
I think the stunts thing is very interesting because there is programming and there are films that have like reality TV like stunts, but there's insurance involved. There's like engineers who set it up. Like there's a lot of checks and balances. But on the internet, you have these people doing like hardcore parkour. And there's none of that, right? There's no insurance, there's no safety, there's nothing, right? And so again, it's leaning into the extreme.
Yeah, it's a really interesting dynamic where the platforms, I think of them as thrift stores, and they just need content all the time, but they're not your employer. They'll trick you and say there's money out there, and they will give you a little bit of money, but they're not your employer.
Right. So let's get into that, because I feel like a lot of the creators, and including some that were in your film, Anything for Fame, they were getting hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of views, but it didn't seem like they were actually making money. So can you explain that to the viewer, where just because you're going viral on the internet doesn't actually mean that you're monetizing it, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a really big myth that the social media platforms really put out there. Go viral and you're set. You've made it. You're famous. You've got it. And again, with traditional fame, typically if you were famous, it was because you had an album or you were in a movie and you were kind of set financially. Now that's really separated. You can go viral, but you need to have a marketing plan to figure out what you're going to sell. And that's where we're seeing a lot of the hypersexualization. That's where we're seeing a lot of people selling the business course on how to make your own YouTube videos or how to get rich. But the influencers kind of have to figure out the second part. Going viral alone doesn't guarantee income.
And the odds of actually making decent money, making a decent living off internet fame are extremely low. Can you talk about that?
They're extremely low, and so I should start off first by saying it's doable. You can do it.
Anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it. Just like you can win the lottery.
Sure.
The idea of being at the top tier of a YouTuber is kind of the same odds of getting both in the NHL and the NFL and Harvard. So it's doable.
No, but no one has actually done that. As far as I know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but you could, right? You theoretically could. But when you look at the numbers, right, we're talking about 112 million active YouTube accounts competing, right, to get to those few spots. It doesn't have the benefits of traditional sports where you age out of it. You can
Right.
try and be social media influencer famous at any age in your life.
Yeah.
And you can just do the math. There's no way YouTube, TikTok, Instagram could ever have enough money to pay everyone even above minimum wage. Like the math doesn't make sense.
Right.
And keeping that myth alive, though, that there's a big pot of gold is how you create a lot of content from your users.
Yeah. And again, even if you are going viral, no guarantee that you actually will monetize it.
Yeah, in our film, one of our influencers, Jake Hillhouse, he had over 2 million subscribers on TikTok. Each one of his TikToks were hitting the kind of numbers you see for the Stanley Cup Finals. Like millions of views per
that's
TikTok.
Huge.
He didn't make a cent.
Oh my God. So quick rundown, quick summary of the dangers of internet fame. Let's go through them. Obviously, I mean, if you're doing stunts and there's no insurance and there's no safety, there's like a physical risk. But how would you describe the dangers of internet fame?
I think the biggest danger is that people don't understand it. There's a lot of myth. It's becoming a more and more desirable career for a young generation. But it doesn't have any of the traditional labor protections that other careers have.
Right.
And so that's a very dangerous space. When you have companies that won't really tell you how do you make money, when they have the switch, they can turn it on and off. How does it happen?
Right, yeah.
And so it encourages behavior that we maybe don't appreciate in society. But maybe if it worked for someone, we're going to have a ton of other people try to recreate that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the biggest danger is the lack of information. I think parents out there should watch Anything for Fame with their kids or make content their own and go on their own journey and see what are the odds. Is this realistic? Is this just the same as trying to become a filmmaker, or is it something very different?
Right. I feel like parents and teachers need to instill in children that you can really mess up your life on the internet. Right?
Exactly. And it's trying to understand the cost of those relationships. I think we've always seen it in Hollywood where you're provocative and maybe you can, that'll lead to the next thing. But there's so many people being provocative online that more and more these days, it doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
You might go viral for a day, but it's not going to really set you forward. And it might just leave you with legal problems like some characters in our film struggle with, or worse, destroy those relationships with your family. Like pranking your family members can seem funny, but it's kind of just lazy content in a way. It's almost the easiest thing to create conflict and get views.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to write, prepare, make a joke. Even if it's a bad joke, that takes a ton of time and energy to do.
I know that firsthand. Tyler, such a pleasure. Congratulations on what is a really insightful and very interesting and I think timely film. So thanks so much for your time tonight.
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Folks, check out the National Film Board of Canada's website, nfb.ca, where you can stream Anything for Fame. It's free, there are no signups required, and I promise you it is an incredible film from local Vancouver director and our featured guest tonight, Tyler Funk. And thank you to Shelter Point Single Malt Whiskey for supporting local conversations, even when they're dangerous. Now, after some business, Netflix comedian Ivan Decker is here to explain why being a new dad is dangerous for the dad. Let's hear him out up next.